Hi, welcome to this edition of 10 in 10. And this is a show, if you're new to it, where we look at 10 education technology topics in 10 minutes. So you don't get bored, you don't have to take up a whole lot of time. All you need is 10 minutes to learn something, and actually 10 minutes to learn 10 things. So let's get started. Today, we're talking about how teachers can use blogs. And this is part one of a two-part series. So the first one is more about teachers using the blogs for themselves, and then in our second part we'll talk about teachers using blogs in their classroom. Now, a blog, for those of you not familiar with it, is a short for web log. It's like a place where teachers can do all kinds of stuff. Essentially, it's just a website that you put in lots of information. So let's go ahead and look at some of the things that we can do. Now, this particular episode was inspired by A.J. Giuliani, who has a really cool website at ajgiuliani.com. And this is a great idea, is to go out and get ideas from other people, use their blog. This is her blog, and that's what I did. I went out and got some cool ideas and incorporated it into this show. So I wanted to give a shout out to A.J. Giuliani for that. So the first thing that teachers can do to use a blog with. Now remember, this part is for teachers for themselves, and so this might be explaining a new idea. Have you ever gone to a conference or you've taken some professional development and you want to share that idea with your fellow teachers, your colleagues, your peers? That's a great use of a blog, is to explain some new idea that you've heard or you've come up with, and explain it and put it out. And what's neat about blogs is that you get feedback, and you get feedback from all different kinds of people. And so when you put some kind of new idea out there, people can come back and say, yeah, we tried this, but this works, or you need to add this or that. So it's a great idea just to put new ideas out on a blog. So let's look at that second one, is using it as some kind of step-by-step guide. Probably you've taken some professional development where they ask you to do something step by step by step. Here I have a picture of an IKEA step-by-step user manual or something for something, putting together cabinets or something. But you can actually use your blog to explain something. So say for instance you go to a professional development and you're learning about foldables. Well, you can actually create a blog on what you learned and do a step-by-step, take pictures, put them in there, on how to do a particular type of foldable. And so this is a great way not only to remind yourself what you've done already, but to share what you've learned with other people. And that's one of the powers of a blog, is that you're sharing your information with other people. Another one that I really like is having interviews. Have you ever been to a professional development, gone to a conference, and you say, man, I wish I would have got a little more information there from that person. I wish I would have gotten a little more in depth. Well, you know, everybody carries around a smartphone, and most smartphones have a recorder built into it. You can take that recorder, interview people, and put that interview up online. And it's a great place to put an interview. Then people can provide feedback to that interview. So I really like using interviews on blogs as well. Another place is reviews, not only for students but for teachers as well. We do a lot of reading in education. We read books, we read articles. You can post reviews of what you've learned. How was that book about the art of coaching? Or how was that book about principal leadership? Or how was that book about becoming a teacherpreneur? So you can actually do some really cool reviews. Just like anybody reviews a movie, you can review what you've learned. You can review professional development. You can review things that you've learned. It's a great place. And it also, when you do a review, when you go back and revisit, you can remember what you've learned. Okay, another one's reflection. This is something that we don't do enough of in education. We don't reflect on our own personal learning. We ask students to reflect on their learning, but we don't do it enough. So a blog is a great place for you to go out and learn and reflect about what you learned, and then again you can go back later on, maybe a week later, a month later, a year later, and remind yourself what you learned. And this is also a great way to reinforce the learning. So reflection is a great place to use a blog. Another one is to present a different perspective. We also, in education, we all hear like, oh, this is bad, or this is good, or we shouldn't be doing this, or we should do this, or this is really weird. If you can actually put your perspective on your blog. What's your thoughts? You can present a different perspective. You can go against the grain. You can put up your opinion. It's a great place to put opinions about information. You just have to be careful about when you're writing. You don't want to call out individual people or, libel anybody or something like that. But you can put your spin on information and present your own different perspective on something. I know our teachers are very passionate about particular topics, and so this is a great place, a blog is a great place to put your own perspective about things. A shared challenge or experiment. The picture I put there was from the blog that inspired the movie Julie and Julia. And you might remember that in that movie, the lady had a blog, and her blog was she challenged herself to go through the entire French chef book and prepare every single recipe that was on there. You can do a challenge yourself. You can do a challenge or some kind of shared experiment where you challenge yourself to write 2 blogs a week or 3 blogs a week, or you're challenged to write, I'm just going to write about science this week, or I'm just going to write about English language arts this week. So you can challenge, and you can do a lot of experimentation online that's shared with other people, and you got to be not afraid to share. That's one of the really nice things about blogging, is that you're putting yourself out there. And that's okay, because you put yourself out there in front of kids every single day. So putting yourself out there in front of adults, I know it's kind of scary, but the rewards are really worth it. So our next one is sharing a tool. We all learn new tools. We all have either some kind of technology tool or some kind of a new trick that we've been told, or something that we've gone to a conference and we've learned. So sharing that tool out with other people is a great thing to do. We are teachers. That's what we get paid for, is to teach other people. And we're not stuck with just teaching students. We can teach our colleagues, we can teach our peers, we can teach people all over the world by putting things up on a blog. Sharing a tool is a great way to use a blog. The other one that I really like is asking for help. We don't often ask for help because we kind of think of ourselves as we should know everything, and we don't want to put ourselves out there, and it's kind of embarrassing to ask for help. But you can ask for help in such a way on a blog that you will put in your whole professional learning network, and they can help you out with questions. If you have trouble getting through to a particular kid, or a lesson isn't working, you can put that lesson up online and ask, what am I doing wrong? What's a better way of attacking this problem? And after a while, once you get people reading your blog, you will be surprised the amount of help that's out there and people that are willing to share. So asking for help is a great use of a blog. The other thing I like to do is for showing something new. We always get new products coming into our classrooms. We always get new books. Every year we have new adoptions and things like that. So show something new. Show something new, trick that you learned, a new lesson that you think it was very successful. Why not share that with other people? Show that something new with your colleagues. Why not share? We don't have like professional secrets. Our lesson plans are not real professional secrets. What we really need to be doing is sharing those lesson plans with other people. And the more you share, I found this out in my own personal blog, the more you share, the more people are willing to share with you. And so you can break out of that rut of your four-walled classroom there. So let's look at those 10 ideas again real quick before we run out of time. One is to explain a new idea. These are all uses for teachers for using a blog. Explain a new idea, step-by-step instructions, doing an interview, doing some kind of review, having some kind of reflection, doing a different perspective, some kind of shared experiment or challenge, sharing a tool, asking for help, or showing something new, which is really a great thing to do. Now, if you want to see where all this is done, you can go to my blog. I have a blog on Tumblr. It's called holtthink.tumblr.com, and I do every single one of those 10. And so you just have to dig through them all and see. You can actually, there's a search tool on there, so you can search for all different kinds of things. You're invited to come to my blog, see how it's done. So that's 10 uses of a teacher blog, part 1. See you next time on 10 in 10. Thanks.